She lied to you. She was protecting the last waterbender.
What? Who?
Me!
Avatar: The Last Airbender is a kids show that understands anger better than most media made for adults. And I think there's a lot of nuance in that understanding that gets swept under the rug. If you think back to the last time you watched the show, you'll probably remember a few big story beats. Aang is terrified by the Avatar state and tries his best to control it. Zuko is fueled by rage for the first 2/3 of the show and becomes much more powerful once he stops doing that. And Katara is so full of bitterness towards the person who killed her mother that it takes all she has to not kill him. There's a pretty clean read you can get from all of these. Anger is bad, and you need to learn to let go of it and you'll become a balanced person. But I think there's more to it than that. I don't think The Last Airbender treats anger as a good or bad thing. It's simply information, a signal that something you care about has been violated. The show's real interest is in how different characters react to that signal. We're going to revisit these three characters and how all of them learn to get somewhere close to a middle path when it comes to dealing with anger. Anger management? Anyone? Anger management? Anyway, the Avatar state can be seen as a representation of anger but turned up to 1,000, on a massive supernatural scale. Anger is so intense that Aang gains the ability to smite literally anyone that's causing it, including the Fire Lord. And Aang doesn't really know how to deal with this. He's a goofy peacemaker type guy. Big sections of the show are spent with Aang freaking out about the power that he possesses, and the fact that he can't stop it. But here's the thing about the Avatar state. It's always defense. It never shows up when Aang just doesn't like someone. It shows up when his life is in danger and he needs to do something drastic or he is going to die. And the framing of it being the accumulated wisdom of all of Aang's past lives works really well here. Aang is a 12-year-old pacifist monk. He does not understand what situations anger is appropriate in. But hundreds of lifetimes of experience will tell you there are times when you need to throw down. Every time Aang is about to go into the Avatar state, I imagine Roku and Kyoshi and all the other previous Avatars watching Aang try to be pacifistic when someone's actively trying to kill him, and they're just face-palming. They're like, Aang, you have a great heart, dude, but you need to fight back right now. Like, right. Oh, okay, we're just going to take over. You don't have the reins anymore? We're taking over. Anger can be thought about in this way. Your own Avatar state, although not quite as dramatic. Forceful energy that shows up in you to defend yourself or something you care about. If you're gonna fight, you need that energy. And I'm not saying the Avatar state isn't dangerous. It definitely is. Even when anger is justified, even when it's responding to a genuine threat, it can still do damage on the way out if you don't have a handle on it. That's what gets Aang so freaked out. He wakes up in the rubble of what he just did, not even realizing what just happened. I don't feel like Aang accepts the power that he has, even by the end of the show. It's probably something that takes years to get a handle on. But if it wasn't for the Avatar state, there are so many points along his journey where he literally would not have made it. The Avatar state is terrifying, but Aang and all Avatars before him need it. Zuko is about as far as you can get from Aang when it comes to anger. Every action he takes before he joins Team Avatar is fueled by it. It's the only way that he's able to get up and do anything. And anger deserves some credit here. If he didn't have it, he would probably wallow in a pit of despair and banishment forever. It's what gives him the energy to keep going through the many, many challenges that he faces. But what we learn from Zuko is that using rage as fuel has a ceiling, and it has a cost. Let me say something uncontroversial. It's probably not very fun to be Zuko in the first 2 seasons. He's walking around pissed at himself, pissed at the Avatar, pissed at everything. He probably has crazy indigestion issues. It's not a sustainable way to live. And then, when he sees the light and betrays his father and joins Team Avatar, he completely loses his bending. His circumstances change, and the wellspring of rage that he's used this whole time is just gone. He's able to get his bending back by learning a source of power that isn't rage from the Sun Warriors. And I'll be honest, they don't really spell out what the power is in this episode. If I was going to put a word on it, I'd say drive or vitality, getting your energy from caring about something instead of just being super pissed off. But it's not really central to the point. The point is that Zuko needed to find something in himself that didn't require an enemy to function. And once he does, he is a dog. I mean, just look at the Agni Kai with Azula. Coolest animated fight I've ever seen to this day. And he's doing all of this without even being fueled by hatred for Azula. He's just doing the right thing. And the indigestion is probably gone too. If Zuko shows what happens when anger runs out, Katara shows what happens when it never gets let out. Katara is similar to Aang in that she doesn't want to express her anger, but she's different than him in two important ways. First, she succeeds in not expressing it because she doesn't get taken over by a massive spiritual energy when she's in danger. And second, her reason for not expressing it is different. Aang doesn't want to express his anger because he wants to be friends with everybody and he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And these are real and valid reasons, but Katara has reasons that feel more binding to me. She's the caretaker, and she can't afford to release the deep hurt and rage that's in her from her mother getting killed. This is something that's been going on for years. At the South Pole, she had to bury her range to keep the group functional. She was never able to deal with it. She immediately became the responsible one that had to make sure everybody ate. There's no room for anger in that situation. And the same thing happens with Team Avatar. She's just a naturally caring person, and she's spending so much time attending to the emotional needs of everybody else that she still isn't able to take a look at what's building inside her. She just keeps pushing it down. So when she learns that she can find her mom's murderer, years of pent-up emotion come to the surface at once, and she almost kills the guy. The other two characters we've talked about are the two people on her shoulders during this. Zuko, who's done nothing but express rage the whole show, is like, "Yeah, you're completely right, we need to kill this guy." And Aang, who gets imbued with the voice of the show for a second, is like, "You need to confront him for your own sake, but revenge is not going to make things better." And Aang shows some real maturity here, and he deserves some credit for it. It would have been easy for him to say, "I don't want you to interact with him at all, you need to just forgive him yourself," and then Katara would have to carry around her rage unresolved for the remainder of the show. But he understands that she needs to do this, for her own sake. When Katara faces her mother's murderer, there's a moment where you're not sure what she's going to do. Her waterbending visualizes the years of pain and grief she's been through as 1,000 knives that are all pointed at him, and then she makes a choice. She doesn't kill him. She doesn't forgive him, but she doesn't kill him. And this is a huge moment in the show because Katara shows that expressing anger is not a one-way ticket to destruction and ruin. She shows that you can let even really intense anger out without ruining anything. She also shows the cost that builds in the background when you don't express it. I'll talk about my own situation for a minute because this is something I've been grappling with myself. I don't mean that I'm hunting my mother's killer. My version of this is a lot smaller and a lot less dramatic, but the mechanism is the same. I have big Enneagram 9 energy. You don't need to know what that means specifically if you're not a personality nerd. But basically the main problem that a person like me has is pretending that anger doesn't exist. I've built an identity around being the chill guy, the guy that never gets upset about things. For a long time, it was something I was proud of. I thought it made me mature and tolerant. But pretending anger doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. What I've realized is I'm carrying around years of pent-up slights that all add up to what is pretty much unbridled rage. And it's my fault. If I was willing to do something when anger showed up, if I was willing to listen to the signal that it was giving me, I'd be able to express it and have better friendships and not have to carry it around myself. I'm learning to become more spicy and it's actually kind of fun. Nothing crazy, just not letting ridiculous things slide. Listening to what the anger is telling you. Which brings me back to what these three are all doing. Aang suppresses his anger and his body forces it out of him with supernatural power. Zuko overdepends on his anger and he's powerless when it runs out. Katara buries her anger deep and it erupts all at once after years of being ignored. 3 different mistakes, all with the same root cause, not listening to what the anger is telling you. Anger is the immune system of your emotional life. It activates when something important to you is under threat. You can ignore it, lean on it, or bury it, but the best thing you can do is to hear what it's saying and then choose what to do about it. That's what Aang, Zuko, and Katara all eventually learn how to do. Thanks for watching the video. Usually a music channel, but sometimes you rewatch Avatar and you have a bunch of thoughts and they need to go somewhere. So yeah, thanks for watching.